Good afternoon, students. How are you all? I think you all are good. Okay. Okay, students. I hope that you are learning your daily lessons. Is it right? Okay. Learn the daily lessons. At least read 2-3 times. You will understand. And no need to study by heart, but you have to learn that one very well. Okay. So daily lessons you read and understand and learn. So in commerce, now we are in the 16th lesson. Okay, consumer protection. So in that one, next heading we are going to learn is United Nations guidelines for the consumer protection. How the United Nations, we know that United Nations, that UNO, general UNO, in that one, the General Assembly, it has passed one resolution. Okay, the United Nations Organization General Assembly has passed one resolution on April 9, 1985. Okay, 9th April 1985. It has passed one resolution that what it has said. It has given some guidelines. Okay, that guidelines is for the consumer protection, and it has asked all its member countries to follow those policies and laws in order to protect the interest of the consumers. Okay, so they have asked those member countries, they have to pass their own policies also. Considering these guidelines, they have to pass their own policies in order to protect the consumers. Okay. So the objectives of the UN guidelines for consumer protection. They have some objectives. Why this UN has given some guidelines for its member countries. The main objective is to assist the member countries in order to maintain adequate protection for their consumers. Okay, that is the main objective. They have to maintain adequate protection for their people or the country people's protection must be there. That is the main objective. Second one, they have to have some production and distribution pattern. In that one, they have to respond to the needs and desire of the consumers. That means they have to satisfy that needs of the consumers, or the wants of the consumers must be satisfied, and there must be their proper encouragement for the having the good contact between the producers and the people, those who distribute the goods and service to the ultimate consumers. Okay, then they have to assist there may not be any abusive business practices or malpractices, or if they abuse the customers, that must be stopped at the national level and at the international level. That should be there. Then they have to encourage, they must encourage some volunteering groups, consumer groups. We learnt in the yesterday's portion. So they have to encourage to form some volunteering group. Okay, and if there is some international support, international cooperation must be there. So not only within the country, they have to get the international cooperation also for the consumer protection, because many of the products produced internationally outside the countries one may be imported. So there they have to produce properly. So it is not only confined within the boundaries of the nation, but it is beyond the nation, because the goods produced in our country may be exported, or we may import the goods which are produced outside the country. Okay. So they have to encourage the international cooperation in the field of consumer protection. Then they have to encourage the development of market condition. That means consumers may not be allowed to pay a very high price. Okay, they must have more choice for less price, for lower prices. Prices may not be so high. Okay, all these are the objectives of the United Nations guidelines for consumer protection. Next heading, consumer legislation. What are the legislatures available for the protection of the consumer's interest? That means what are the act we have in India? Okay. First one, Indian Contract Act. Okay. Indian Contracts Act 1982. 1982. Some of the legislation, some of the acts they may ask you. Okay. Then the Sale of Goods Act. The Sale of Goods Act. It is 1982. Then Essential Commodities Act. Essential Commodities Act. Some of the act they may ask for with the year. Okay, 1955. Indian Contracts Act, the Sale of Goods Act 1982, then the Essential Commodities Act 1955, then the Agricultural Products Grading and Marketing Act. Agricultural Products Grading and Marketing Act. Marketing Act 1937. They will be regulating the supply of the agricultural products. Here the essential commodities, we know the rice, all the things that we use daily, isn't it? Essential commodities. Sale of Goods Act, commonly for all the consumer goods. Okay. Then Contract Act. Because if there is a contract, the person, one who make the contract, both the people, okay, so that will be there. Everything to protect the consumer's interest. Okay, then the Prevention of Food Adulteration Act. Separately for adulteration, okay. Prevention of Food Adulteration Act. We know what is adulteration. They will mix stone with the grains, then papaya seeds with pepper. Okay, that one. Separate act is there. The Prevention of Food Adulteration Act 1954. There is one act. Then another act. The sixth one, Weights and Measures Act. We know weights and measures that we will weigh, weighing machine. So they may not do any malpractice in the weight itself. When we purchase 1 kg product, we may have only 3/4 of the product instead of 1 kg. They may reduce around 100 gram or 200 gram in 1 kg. So they will check. There may not be any malpractice because of the underweight. Okay. So that Act 1958, that will protect against the underweight of the products. Okay. The next one, the Trademark Act. Trademark. We have for the good products, we have the trademark, isn't it? So there they may not change that. Fraudulent mark may not be there. So they will prevent the fraudulent trademark available in the market. Okay, Trademark Act 1999. Then the next one, Competition Act. Competition Act 2002. Here competition must be there, but it may not be a acute competition, unhealthy competition may not be there. They will prevent the acute or unhealthy competition. Okay. Then Indian Standard Institution, that we call as in short ISI. Okay. Now it is known as BIS. That means Bureau of Indian Standards. Okay, Indian Standard Institution, it is called now BIS. Okay, Bureau of Indian Standard. This one, 1952. When it was started, it was 1952. Now they have changed that name as Bureau of Indian Standard. For standardized product only, they will give this simple BIS. Okay, so they are having this one in order to produce the standardized products. Then the drugs and magic remedies, related to the drugs and any magic remedies that were related to the advertisement. Okay, they may not have any false advertisement related to drugs and any other magical products. Okay, then Drugs and Cosmetics Act. Cosmetics, we know most of our Indians, they spend a large amount, especially the ladies, isn't it? We too will spend more money in the cosmetics. Then we used to apply on our face or the skin. If any damage occurs, there is an act. Okay, Drugs and Cosmetics Act, in order to provide the healthy products, that it may not do any harm to the people. Okay, that safety drugs only must be provided for the customers. Okay, that one. Then 12th one, Food Safety Standard Act. Food Safety Standard Act. Here the food safety must be there. All the foods, it may not have any harmful chemicals in order to preserve them. Okay, so and the food may not be spoiled when it is preserved in the tin containers. Okay, in order to that distribute the safe food, this act is useful. Okay, that it is helping the producers and distributors to sell the safety food items for the customers. Then the Air Act. Air Prevention and Control of Pollution, especially for pollution. Nowadays we know very well the air is polluted because of the harmful gases, isn't it, released from the factories and industries. So there is one act. Then Public Liability Insurance Act. Public Liability Insurance Act. If any accident occurs, okay, they will provide that insurance claim immediately. So for that one, Insurance Act is there. Again, the last one, Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substance. Narcotic drugs. We have heard that brown sugar and all, isn't it? That is produced in order maybe either for the educational purpose or for the chemical industries purpose. Understand? Only for that purpose they may use that. They may not use for the ordinary people to consume and to get sick. They may not introduce those products in the market. Okay, so they will prevent the manufacture or distribution of this narcotic drugs and psychotropic substance. We have heard, isn't it, that brown sugar and all, if they eat something they will be becoming like psycho people, isn't it? Getting mentally sick. So there they will prevent these type of producing drugs and distributing to the people unless for the educational purpose. Okay. Next we will learn Consumer Protection Act. In India, what is the act that we have in order to protect the interest of the consumers? So Consumer Protection Act. This act was passed in the year 1986. Okay, Consumer Protection Act was passed in the year 1986. That is why it is called Consumer Protection Act 1986. This act came into force from 15/4/1987. Okay, they may ask when this Consumer Protection Act came into force. So the Consumer Protection Act came into force from 15th April 1987. Then again, after many years, in 1993, they have made one Amendment Act. Amendment means they have made some changes, amended the act. Okay, if they make any changes in the act, that is called amendment. That is done in 1993. And since it is this COPRA, together it is called COPRA. In short, it is called COPRA, Consumer Protection Act. Okay, it is called COPRA. Why it is? What is the main aim? We know very well, to protect the interest of the consumers, or they have to not only protect and they have to promote the interest of the consumers. Okay, or they have to safeguard the interest of the consumers from some defective goods, damaged goods, or unfair trade practices, from adulterated goods, from hoarding. Okay, all that exploitation, from that one they have to protect the interest of the consumers. Protect and promote the interest of the consumers is the main aim of this act. Okay, that is the main aim. Then if there is any grievances for the consumers, what we do? We will file a complaint, isn't it? That complaint will be how to guide the consumers if there is any grievance. That is done. Okay, we will learn that one in detail. Okay, how they are doing that. We have district forum, district wise, we have state wise, that forum is there. Then national wise court is there. Okay, 3 tier court, district wise, then state wise. District we will learn in that heading very clearly. Okay students, that one. Now we have the we will learn the features of the Indian Consumers Act. Okay, the features of Indian Consumers Act we will learn. Okay, these features I will explain students. It is one of the 4th mark question. 4 mark, 5 mark question. Okay, long answer. 5th question answer. Not 7th question answer it is. Okay, I will explain what it is. What are the features of this Consumer Protection Act? What they do? We know first they are protecting the consumers against the products and services which are harmful to the health of the consumers. What is the meaning? If any product that will make harm for the to the health of the consumers must be prevented. Okay, they will not support the distribution of those harmful products. Second one, they are protecting the consumers from the breach of contract by sellers or manufacturers. They may make a contract for supplying the good products, quality products. Once they manufacturers or the middlemen or the consumers, when they receive the product, if they find the quality is not good, that do harm to the health of the consumers, they will protect. So second point, protecting the consumers from the breach of contract. That means the going against the contract is called breach of contract by the sellers or the manufacturers. Then ensuring the consumers with the supply of goods at fair quality, that we know. So they have to ensure that the very quality products are supplied to the consumers. Next point, safeguarding consumers against misleading and untrue messages communicated through advertisement. So if any false advertisements are given, that must be stopped. Okay, they have to help the consumers from giving false advertisement. Okay, then they have to ensure the fair price, not the very high price, very low price. Fair price means the reasonable price. Okay, then the consumers must get the goods without any interruption, without any break. Okay, whenever the consumers need the products, they have to get the products. That is called uninterrupted supply of goods. That must be there. Okay, all these must be checked by the Act. Okay, then not only the uninterrupted supply, fair price, the consumers must get the goods in correct quantity and in correct size. Okay, quantity should not be less. For that one only we have learned the Measure Act. Okay, then they may not have any unfair trade practices. Okay, maybe having the many ways they will cheat the consumers. Okay, that may not be true. Then pollution, any kind of pollution should not be there. Consumers must be protected against various kinds of pollution. Then because of the evil competition, the consumers may not be affected. Okay, for protecting the consumers against the evil effect of the competition. Okay students, all these ways, these are the main features of the Indian Consumers Protection Act 1986. Okay students, now I will mark and give you the question answers. Write a short note on Consumer Protection Act. Okay, Consumer Protection Act 148. 148. Here this point you can write. Okay, the central government enacted a comprehensive law called Consumer Protection Act. That's one. And